Hey, thought I'd do a quick video for Aztez. Probably going to take a break from it for a while. I've put in about 15 hours. You factor in idling to talk in the Discord. Probably more like 14 or 13, but I've played a pretty significant amount. I only have one more gameplay unlocked to get, which is the Gauntlets, which I hear the boss you need to fight for that is like ridiculously hard, so it's actually better to go through the arena because I think he spawns towards the end. Yeah, that's him right there, the Emperor, so it's better to actually go through here because the way the practice mode works, if you see these enemies once, whether you win or lose, then you get them unlocked in here to practice against forever. So like for instance, to unlock the claws you have to fight this legendary underworlder, and I had to kind of practice here for, I don't know how long I did it for, probably like at least half an hour until I got to the point where I could carry most of his attacks. So, until I get him unlocked in practice mode, I'm probably not going to be attempting that. So I'm going to go ahead and show the claws. So I don't think too many people have it unlocked. Here's your basic square string. What's unique about this weapon is you don't have a block. You have this animation, which is basically a parry. If you can't parry the attack, then you get hit. So it is not the best defensive weapon. Also, a lot of actions cannot be cancelled into this. Like, see the down square has like really good range, and if you try to do the parry cancel out of it, doesn't work. However, if you do a blood cancel, it works fine. So you can do stuff like this. So up square into up triangle is a natural combo, and you can also do that in the air. Is your basic combo. So it is not very good for breaking armor because the way the attacks work in this game, I don't think I've mentioned this before, all of your damage is very loaded towards the end of the combo. So actually finishing combos in this game, it's kind of a little bit like Bayonetta, where you know the Wicked Weaves. If you just mashed a bunch of punches and you canceled out and you didn't dodge offset, then you're missing a whole big chunk of your damage. That's how this game works too. If you don't get to the end of a combo, you're missing out on a huge chunk of damage. So the canceling is more for positioning. Like say, yeah, let me get him out of the corner. Like one common combo I use in a situation where I have enemies on the ground that can attack me from the air, either with, there are some pretty generous enemy hitboxes in this game. Sometimes they'll hit you from the ground, you can be at jump height and you'll still get hit. There's also some enemies that have aerial attacks. So what I will do is I'll do this. You know, like by that point, you pretty much have just gotten straight up into the air, pretty much the highest altitude you can get, at least with one weapon, and that will protect you from pretty much every attack. But if you actually want to do damage, it's good to finish a combo. Like the club, for instance. Let me go fight the Underworlder so you guys can get a little better example. It also applies to breaking armor as well. The armor is dependent on how much damage you do in a short period of time, which is a little bit imbalanced. You know, like the fists and the claws especially have a really hard time breaking guards because their combos are actually pretty long. You know, if you can get them in the air, then you can do it safely. But especially with the claws, the damage that you do, it takes too long to get to the last part, and you can't like dodge offset in this game. So a lot of people in the Discord have been discussing maybe they'll change it in some way so that maybe it's dependent on how many hits you do, or at least with certain weapons. That way it would be a little more viable. Right now, you pretty much always want the club if you know you're going to be fighting a boss, because it's the fastest way to break guards. At that point, you could just guard cancel or switch cancel and use whatever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and show that right now. Might be a little sloppy, we'll see. already. Counters actually do a pretty significant amount of damage to their armor. Like you can see, it's taking longer to break his guard because I haven't been able to get a good beat on him. There we go. Let's see how fast I can break his armor. So you can actually counter their burst. The burst, I think, when you land the counter burst, it will actually do some damage to their armor, but you can't continue to combo. It's not like Tales of Hearts are, where it had a very similar mechanic, but in that game, when you countered their burst, you got to continue to combo. Here in this game, you kind of just get to do some extra damage and defend yourself a little bit, but that's about it. So I'll go ahead and I'll fight this other one so you guys get a good example. That killed him in like one combo. So there is quite a bit of strategy to breaking their guards. Hopefully they'll change things a little bit so that the fists and the claws aren't so disadvantaged versus bosses. They do feel like they're good if you break their guards. Apparently the claws got a pretty significant damage buff like right before the game released to kind of facilitate the fact that they don't have a regular guard. It takes a long time to break their armor. So it does help if you can stagger something. They do a lot of damage. Also with the extra aerial actions, you can get pretty high up there and you can be safe from pretty much most attacks as long as you get up there fast enough. There's definitely a factor in this game. It's not like the DMC reboot where the moment that you went in the air you're pretty much invincible. You have to work for that. There's only really a couple weapons that you can do that with. You can do the spear and the claws, especially the knife. To a lesser extent, when you're high up in the air, you can use the down triangle to ground bounce everybody who's below you and use that to continue a combo. But for the most part, if you want to do an air combo safely, you have to get up there really quickly, which I think is a cool element. I like how you have to really pay attention in the air. It's also really cool when you're doing an air combo and thanks to the omnidirectional blocking, you are able to parry someone who hits you in the air and hit them both. I think it's a really satisfying mechanic. It's just the armor breaking, it does feel a little heavily weighted towards just the more powerful or slower weapons. I don't have the gauntlets yet. I don't know how good those are at breaking guards. But for now, I mostly just use the club, because the club just takes a 3-hit combo. It's a pretty short combo. It doesn't take too long to get to the end. And like I said, a lot of the damage is at the end. So if you're having trouble with the bosses or the conquistadors at the end, one of the best things you can do is to group them up and kind of clump them all into one classic beat 'em up stuff, and then just get the 3-hit combo off as fast as possible. If you have fortune, that will help the god attack. You can pretty much just walk into them, and the 3-hit combo will pretty much always break their guard. At that point, you could just combo them all, and you're pretty much done. So definitely take the club when you can. Anyway, get ready for the next